Hello? No, don't answer that. Just listen. Just this once. Don't interrupt your own thoughts, because that's where they live. Not out there. Not in the noise. In here. In the quiet place you kept locked for 7 years. 7. Funny number, right? Long enough to forget who you were. Short enough for them to think you'd never become anything else. You let them win. No, say it properly. You let them win, not because you were weak. No, no, no. That's the story they told each other to sleep better at night. But because you understood something they couldn't even spell. Timing. See, while they were celebrating loud victories, you were building silent equations. While they were pointing at your failures, you were studying their patterns. Every insult, every betrayal, every time they chose someone else over you. You didn't react, and that confused them. Because people expect pain to scream. They expect wounds to bleed out in public. They expect you to break where they can see it. But you didn't. You let it sink. You let it rot. You let it become something else. Do you remember the first year? Yeah, don't lie. You do. That night, where everything cracked open, and you almost gave up. Almost became exactly what they said you were, but you didn't. And that's where it started. Not the comeback. No, that's too simple. The transformation. Year 2. You went quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Dangerous quiet. The kind where people stop asking questions because your silence answers them. Year 3. You stopped explaining yourself. You realized something. Something ugly. People don't want the truth. They want a version of you that makes them comfortable. So you gave it to them. A mask. Oh, you wore it perfectly. You laughed when they laughed. Nodded when they spoke. You let them believe they knew you. But behind that mask, you were counting every slight, every fake smile, every time they underestimated you just enough to reveal themselves. Year 4, you started to enjoy it. Yeah, that part scares you a little, doesn't it? The moment pain stopped feeling like pain and started feeling like fuel. You weren't healing anymore, you were sharpening. Year 5, they forgot about you, and that was their biggest mistake, because obscurity is the perfect camouflage for evolution. They moved on. They stopped watching. They stopped expecting anything from you. And you became unpredictable. Year 6, you weren't the same person anymore, but you didn't show it. That's the part nobody talks about. Growth in silence feels like suffocation, like screaming into a void that refuses to echo back. But you held it. You held it all. And now, Year 7, this is where it gets beautiful, because now they think they've already won. They've built entire versions of reality where you're just a memory, a failure, a what could have been. They're comfortable, relaxed. They stopped preparing for you, and you're still here, not louder, not begging, not explaining, just waiting. See, revenge is loud, it's emotional, it's messy, but this is architecture. You didn't spend 7 years losing. You spent 7 years designing the fall. Their fall. Perfect angles, perfect timing, perfect silence before impact. And the most terrifying part, they're going to think it's sudden. They're going to say, where did this come from? They're going to panic. Search for answers. Try to trace the moment everything changed. But there is no moment. It was always happening. Behind the mask, behind the silence, behind you. And when it finally happens, don't speak. Don't explain. Don't even look back. Because the loudest victory is the one that arrives without warning. and leaves nothing behind but realization. Too late. Always too late. Too late. Always too late. And here's the part they will never admit out loud, but they'll feel it, deep in that quiet moment when everything starts slipping through their fingers. They didn't just underestimate you. They misunderstood silence. They thought silence meant surrender. They thought your stillness was weakness. They thought your absence was proof you disappeared. But silence is where things grow teeth. You see, noise is for people who need validation, people who need witnesses, people who need applause to feel real. But you became real in the dark, when nobody was watching, when nobody was clapping, when nobody believed anything was happening at all. That's where you built it, piece by piece. Not your revenge, no, too small. Your identity, because somewhere between year 1 and year 7, you stopped trying to prove them wrong and started becoming something they could never define. That's why they're going to panic. Not because you came back, but because they won't recognize what came back. You won't look the same, not in the eyes, not in the way you move, not in the way you speak. There's a calm now, isn't there? Not peace. Don't confuse it with peace. It's something colder, controlled, measured. Like every word you say has already been weighed, every move you make already calculated. And that's what will break them. Because chaos, real chaos, isn't loud. It's precise. It doesn't scream. It waits. 7 years. You waited, while they wasted energy proving things that didn't matter. You invested yours in becoming something irreversible. They chased moments. You built inevitability. Let that sink in. Inevitability. There's no stopping something that was designed in silence for this long. No warning signs. No obvious clues. Just results. Sudden, clean, undeniable results. And when it hits them, when they finally see you standing there, unshaken, unbothered, unreachable, they're going to replay everything. Every moment they laughed, every time they dismissed you, every second they chose comfort over awareness, and it will haunt them. Because deep down, they'll realize you didn't change overnight. They just weren't paying attention. That's the cost of arrogance. You let them feel powerful. You let them believe they had control. You let them think the story had already ended. But you were just editing the final chapter, line by line, scene by scene, until the ending became something they could never rewrite. And here's the truth that will sting the most. You didn't need to destroy them. You just needed to outgrow the version of you they felt superior to. That's it. That's the whole secret. Because when you outgrow someone's understanding of you, you disappear from their control completely. They can't predict you, can't manipulate you, can't even comprehend you anymore. You become untouchable. And that's when the shift happens. Not outside, inside. That moment where you stop looking for validation, stop looking for revenge, stop looking for recognition, and you just know. You know who you are. You know what you've built. You know what's coming next. And suddenly, their opinions, irrelevant. Their presence, optional. Their past, finished. 7 years, not wasted, not lost, not broken, invested. Every scar, every sleepless night, every silent breakdown you never showed anyone. It all became currency. And now you collect. Not loudly, not emotionally, not desperately, but with precision, with control, with a calm that makes people uncomfortable because they can't read it, can't shake it, can't stop it. So don't rush this moment. Don't announce it. Don't explain it. Let them feel it. Let them sit in the confusion. Let them question everything they thought they knew about you. Because the most powerful transformation is the one that doesn't ask for attention. It demands realization. And by the time they realize it, you're already gone. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, strategically. You're somewhere they can't follow anymore. And that's the real victory. Not that you made them fall, but that you built yourself into something that never needed them to rise. Louder than anything you ever said. And now, listen carefully, because this is where most people ruin it. This is where they get emotional. This is where they rush. This is where they expose everything they built, just to feel seen. Don't. Stay in it. Stay in that silence a little longer. Feel it, that pressure in your chest, that calm that almost feels unnatural, like something inside you is watching instead of reacting. That's not weakness. That's control finally taking its rightful place. Because before, you reacted to everything, didn't you? Every word, every look, every slight shift in how they treated you. You felt it all, and it controlled you. But now you observe, and observation is power most people never unlock. You see things they don't. Patterns, intentions, cracks in their confidence they try to hide behind noise. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's why you don't need to speak loudly anymore. You don't need to prove anything. Because the moment you know, the game changes completely. And here's the part that turns everything upside down. You're not angry anymore, are you? Be honest. That fire that once burned uncontrollably, that urge to react, to fight, to show them, it's gone, replaced by something quieter, something colder, something far more dangerous, clarity. And clarity doesn't rush. Clarity doesn't shout. Clarity doesn't need validation. Clarity executes. So when they finally come back around, and they will, oh, they always do, when they sense something shifted, when they feel that distance they can't explain, they'll try to reconnect, try to understand, try to step back into a version of you that no longer exists. And that's where it ends. Not with revenge, not with anger, not with a dramatic moment where you expose everything, but with indifference, the one thing they never prepared for. Because people can handle hate, they can handle conflict, they can even handle being exposed. But indifference, that breaks something deeper, that tells them, without a single word, that they no longer matter in your world. And that realization, it echoes, it follows them, it sits with them in quiet moments when there's no distraction left, and they start asking questions they don't want answers to. When did I lose them? When did they stop caring? Was I blind, or did I just not value them enough? And you won't be there to answer, because you've already moved beyond that version of reality. That's the final stage. Not becoming better, not becoming stronger, becoming unreachable, not in a physical sense. No, you'll still be there, still walking, still speaking, but internally, untouched, unmoved, uncontrolled. And that's the real transformation nobody talks about. Not the glow-up, not the success, not the visible changes, the internal detachment that makes you immune to everything that once broke you. 7 years built that. 7 years of holding back, of observing, of absorbing everything without exploding. 7 years of turning pain into awareness, awareness into strategy, strategy into identity. And now it's automatic. You don't try anymore. You are. That's why when they look at you now, there's something they can't explain. Something in your presence that feels different, not louder, not more aggressive, just solid, like nothing can shake you anymore. And that terrifies them, because they remember a version of you that could be shaken, a version they could influence, control, predict. But this version doesn't respond the same, doesn't break the same, doesn't belong to them anymore. And deep down, they know it. That's why their energy changes. That's why their tone shifts. That's why their confidence cracks just a little when they speak to you. Because for the first time, they're not sure where they stand. And uncertainty. That's where control flips. You don't take it. You don't demand it. You simply exist in a way that makes it impossible for them to hold it anymore. That's the quiet takeover. No announcement, no warning, no explanation. Just a shift so deep, so complete, so undeniable, that by the time they realize it, it's already permanent. Free. And freedom, real freedom, doesn't feel the way they told you it would. It's not loud, not celebratory, not some cinematic moment where everything suddenly makes sense. No, it feels empty at first. Not broken, empty. Not lonely, empty. Clean. Like walking into a room that used to be filled with noise and realizing it's finally quiet. And for a second, you don't know what to do with that silence. Because you got used to chaos, didn't you? Used to reacting, used to proving, used to carrying weight that was never yours. And now, there's nothing to carry. No expectations, no pressure to explain, no need to perform, just you. And that scares people, because when someone becomes comfortable in that kind of silence, they become impossible to manipulate. There's nothing to pull, nothing to trigger, nothing to control. And that's when the world starts testing you again. Oh yeah, it always does. Different faces, same patterns, new voices, old intentions. They'll come disguised as opportunities, as friendships, as second chances, as this time it's different. And this is where your 7 years are truly measured. Not in how far you've come, but in what you refuse to go back to. Because growth isn't proven by what you build. It's proven by what you walk away from. Without hesitation, without explanation, without guilt. That's power. The ability to see something that once had control over you and feel nothing, no pull, no curiosity, no emotional reaction, just recognition and release. And here's the twist. You're not cold. You're not heartless. You're not detached from reality. You're just no longer available for anything that doesn't align with who you became in the dark. That's it. Simple. Clean. Final. And the more you live like that, the clearer everything becomes. People reveal themselves faster. Situations expose their true nature quicker. You don't waste time analyzing what your intuition already understood in seconds. Because you trained it for 7 years, through pain, through silence, through observation. Now it speaks, and you listen. No second guessing, no overthinking, just decision. And that's dangerous, because most people are stuck in loops, repeating patterns, repeating mistakes, repeating emotional cycles they don't even realize they're trapped in. But you broke the loop. And once you break it, you can never go back to being unconscious again. You see everything, The fake urgency, the hidden intentions, the subtle manipulation, the quiet desperation behind loud confidence. You see it all, and you move differently because of it. Not slower, not faster, just smarter, more precise, more intentional. And the scariest part, you don't even need to try anymore. It's instinct now. That's what 7 years built. Not just strength, not just resilience, but awareness so sharp, it cuts through illusion instantly. So when they look at you now and try to figure you out, try to label you, try to understand what changed, they'll fail because you're not operating on the same level anymore. You're not reacting to the same triggers. You're not chasing the same validation. You're not playing the same games. You stepped out of it completely. And from the outside, it looks simple, calm, controlled. But they don't see the layers. They don't see the nights you rebuilt yourself from nothing. The moments you chose silence over reaction. The times you swallowed pain and turned it into clarity. They don't see any of that. They just see the result. And results don't explain themselves. They just exist, just like you do now. No noise, no need, no dependence, just presence. Solid, grounded, untouchable presence. And here's the final shift. The one that separates you completely from who you used to be. You're no longer trying to win. Read that again. Slowly, you're not trying to win, because winning implies there's still something to prove, someone to defeat, some external validation to reach. And you moved past that. Now, you just move. You build. You evolve. You expand, without announcing it, without forcing it, without needing anyone to acknowledge it. And that's when everything changes. Because the moment you stop chasing outcomes, outcomes start chasing you. Opportunities align, people reveal themselves, paths open, not because you forced them, but because you became the kind of person those things naturally follow. That's the real comeback, not loud, not dramatic, not even visible at first, but undeniable over time. So keep it quiet, keep it controlled, keep it yours, because not everything needs to be shared, not everything needs to be explained. Some things are meant to be felt, lived, protected. 7 years built this, don't dilute it by trying to make others understand it. They won't. And that's fine, because this was never for them. It was for you. Every second, every scar, every silent decision. It all led here, to this version of you that doesn't need permission, doesn't need approval, doesn't need validation, just direction. And you already have it. So go, not loudly, not emotionally, not recklessly, but with that same quiet certainty that carried you through 7 years of darkness. Because now the darkness isn't something you fear. It's something you mastered.